Welcome again. We call this event or this webinar Health and Freedom. It's actually taken a lot of thought to determine what to call this. Honestly, it's a business overview, what it looks like to partner with doTERRA, but we call it Health plus Freedom because in our 6+ years with doTERRA and in just brainstorming with lots of leaders on our team and leaders not on our team, we all kind of came to this like the essence of what it looks like to partner with doTERRA. The benefits of partnering with doTERRA are we get resources and tools and support for health and healing. And we also get the opportunity to earn income with doTERRA to whatever extent we want, honestly. But it's not just the income that matters, it's the freedom that the income allows, right? We're going to talk more about that. But I just want to say again, welcome. We're glad you're here. Please take notes. We have a lot to cover and we are excited to get started. But go ahead. But we have a time set aside at the end specifically for questions, and we will hang out as long as you guys have questions. So I will be right back.
I spoke too soon. So we wanted to start out the call by sharing our story and our personal experience with doTERRA. And so for us, it all began back in, I think it was like 2014 is when I was first introduced to doTERRA essential oils. I was a health coach at a chiropractic office and I loved what I did. I was super passionate about it, working 40 plus, usually 46 or more hours a week. And I started using doTERRA simply because I wanted a natural option for scents in our home. I had learned that fragrances can be really disruptive to your hormones. And so I was looking for a swap. And honestly, that's why I purchased doTERRA. And then quickly after that, I started learning more about the different medicinal benefits of oils. And it just started coming up naturally in conversation in the office where I worked. And I just started naturally sharing. And then when we had Elliot in 2015, things kind of flipped for me. And I feel like that was when I first really considered do I want to be more intentional with this? Because I'm not usually a futuristic thinker, and something about having a baby in my arms switched everything. And I realized wait, I don't know that I want to pay somebody else to take care of our child and basically take our income to cover childcare. So that flipped everything for me. I started getting more intentional. And then at that point, we actually decided to move to Waco, Texas. Prior to that, we had lived in South Dakota. And so we moved to Waco, and that is where I'll let Tyler take over our story.
So I was an accountant. I don't know if you said anything about that.
No.
I was an accountant for a real estate development company, accounting degree, finance degree from college. And I'm the one that kind of convinced Kristen. I was looking at doTERRA. I'm like, you're already telling people about a natural lifestyle anyway.
Yeah.
And I saw the compensation plan and I was really intrigued by it. And we'll get into that a little more later. But right after we moved to Waco, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, an autoimmune condition. And that was another wake-up call. Having Elliot was one. My autoimmune diagnosis was another one, where we just started to really reflect and get in tune with what are our values, what are our priorities, how can we align our lives more with our priorities, including time with our kids, including healing and maintaining a wellness lifestyle. So at that point of diagnosis, obviously I did a lot of different things to heal from that, and we're not going to dive into all of that. doTERRA was a big part of that. But one of the main things that the doctor I was working with encouraged was, he didn't just encourage it. He said, if you are going to heal from this disease, you need to learn how to manage stress. And I loved my job most days, but it was really stressful for me. I wasn't handling it well. And so eventually we just decided to go all in with doTERRA. We joked that we always said we're making doTERRA our plan A with no plan B in terms of vocation and income. And little did we know what that would turn into. It's been over 4 years now since I quit my job, healed from Graves' disease. And during that initial season, when I quit my job and was focusing on healing, I spent a lot of time with our son, Elliot. He was about 2 at the time. And there were lots of different moments where I was like, wow, this is like amazing. This is incredible that I get to spend so much time with him. But there was one moment where it really hit me that I want to share with you guys. And it was, we were living in an apartment at the time, and there was a construction project going on across the street from where we were living. And so every day it was our routine, Elliot and I would get his toy construction trucks, take them outside, and he would be playing in the dirt with his toys while we were watching the real construction workers across the street building an apartment complex. And I'll never forget this, and it makes me emotional every time. But there was one day that one of the construction workers came over to our building during his break just to get some water, and we were chit-chatting. Elliot was playing, and he said, and he started to go back after a short break, but he stopped halfway back to the job site, and he turned back and he looked at me and he said, "I see you out here playing with your son a lot, and I just want you to know how lucky you are." And that moment has stuck with me since that day. I didn't even respond to him. I was so like taken back. I don't know his name, I don't know his story or his history, but that moment stuck with me. And it's helped me not take for granted what we have and what we've built and what's possible. That's really why we're here with you guys tonight, is because this company, these products, this business opportunity have completely opened up our lives and allowed us to prioritize the things that are most important to us. And we want that for more of you. So healing from Graves' disease, spending, full-time family life. And then what's next for us is we'll take doTERRA with us wherever we go. But we felt God calling us to help plant a church in London, England. So that had been on pause for a while during the pandemic, but now that things are going back to normal-ish, we are going to be heading that way later this year. So it's just amazing what opportunities open up.
And to be honest, in the beginning, when we first started doTERRA, and even when we intentionally said yes to the business, I don't even think that we could have made the decisions that we're making now, because it was like this process of us opening up and getting to a place where we were able to dream again, instead of just being kind of in a survival mode. You would have never thought that looking from the outside in, we both had great jobs, both had, we were out of debt from school, all that kind of stuff, but we were just in the motions of life. And doTERRA has really opened up us to start dreaming again and looking to other things that we can do with our life and with our time.
Yeah, and we know everyone on here has a different story, has different dreams. Or maybe you were like what we were and you just haven't been allowed to dream. The pressures of life kind of squeeze that out of us sometimes, but it's been a huge blessing for us. And we're excited for whatever that might be for you. But I just want to start with the basics a little bit after sharing our story, which is always kind of therapeutic to do. So thanks for listening to that. But what is doTERRA? Just so we're all on the same page, doTERRA is many things, but the way we think of doTERRA is a bridge between Western medicine and holistic nature-based wellness. doTERRA, the word doTERRA, is derived from the Latin, and it means gifts of the earth. doTERRA means of the earth. doTERRA's ultimate goal is a healer in every home, and it exists to teach, equip, empower health and healing at home. doTERRA provides the world's most pure, most potent essential oils and other high quality supplements and natural lifestyle products. And this question we get asked a lot: why did doTERRA choose a person-to-person model? The reason they thought about going the retail route or the wholesale route or just selling online. But the reason they chose a person-to-person model was really for maximum effectiveness and empowerment. For instance, doTERRA's products are unlike any other company, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more. But because of the way they source their oils and because of the quality and the purity of the oils that they source, they oftentimes have to charge more. Not always. There's some companies that are still more expensive than doTERRA, but it's a high quality product, therapeutic quality product compared to something that's maybe synthetic or is 90% filler oils and not actually a pure essential oil. If you just put those two products on the shelf, first of all, nobody would know the difference between the two. Why is one $60 versus another one is $20? But they also wouldn't know how to use them. And so that's really what our job is to help people understand the difference and how to use them. doTERRA started in 2008. The founders started the company because they had seen what pure and potent essential oils could do and what it allowed people to do in the home. But they didn't have a consistent source, and they didn't have a company that was transparent enough to provide the testing and everything to prove that it was a consistent source. And so they started their own essential oil company, which is amazing. The company grew to $1 billion in revenue within 7 years. doTERRA is a debt-free, evergreen legacy company. Those are loaded words. But what it really means is doTERRA is not just about making a profit. They're not just about getting ROI. They're about empowering people at every level, from sourcing to manufacturing to bottling, distribution to wellness advocates, every point in the process. doTERRA is now a $3 billion global company. The stage is set to take doTERRA mainstream. And our team, the Living Drop Collective, as a part of the greater doTERRA family, is poised to see another period of massive growth and expansion.
So really, doTERRA, the business model, what it comes down to is that they start at the source and they are like literally traveling the globe. Just recently, one of the founders was sharing on her Instagram about another country she's in, working on the sourcing of a new oil for doTERRA. And they're creating partnerships with farmers, sometimes that have already been growing these plants for like decades with their families. And then they're handling all the logistics, the testing, the manufacturing, all like the customer service, like everything. Like literally our job is just to educate and empower people with using the oils and help other people do the same. So we use the products, share the products, and teach others. And then basically, I think the easiest way to think about it is that doTERRA, instead of taking 5 to 10% of their revenue and spending it on marketing, advertising, sponsorships, all these other things, doTERRA is using that money, and instead they're paying their wellness advocates in the compensation plan they have set up.
Yeah, so being the former accountant / finance major that I am, I looked this up and I was like, what do companies that are in the 3 billion revenue range spend on marketing, advertising, those types of things? And it's usually about 5 to 10%. That's what I found. So for a $3 billion company, that would be 150 million to 300 million that doTERRA is setting aside from their budget to pay wellness advocates every year. 150 to 300 million. That's just at the 3 billion in revenue mark. And so it's a real viable, like there's a lot of money in this way of business. And as the company continues to grow, that pool obviously will continue to grow.
So some of the most important things to consider when you're considering partnering with a company is, number one, the product. So does the product work? And we're going to talk about that. Number two, the culture of the company. I think in the beginning, we didn't really realize what we were stepping into, but I am so thankful, like the abundance and the collaboration and just like the heart of service that doTERRA carries as a collective is incredible and such a great place or great thing to be a part of. The third thing is the owners. And we both heard stories where this has gone really poorly. Like people start to become successful in a company, and it might not even be a network marketing company. This might be a different company as an employee, and you get closer to the ownership and you realize like, wait, this isn't exactly what I was hoping to be a part of, or the leadership I wanted to collaborate with. And I will just say, like, for us, as we've gotten closer, these are pictures of us with some of the founders, Emily Wright, and then the second picture is David Sterling and his wife. And they are just like phenomenal leaders. Their hearts are like so big for the world and what they want to create as far as a legacy and like empowering people far beyond their families and literally changing the world. That like their vision is so big. So it's an honor to be a part of that. And then the fourth thing to consider is, of course, the way the pay structure is set up. And so we'll talk more about that tonight. We wanted to touch on why doTERRA, like as in the product first, because I think that's really one of the most important things when you're considering a company. And so the first thing that we have to talk about when we talk about why doTERRA is what Tyler was already touching on, the quality of the oils. doTERRA's oils are sourced from all around the globe. You can see the map there. And over half of their products are coming out of developing countries. So places like India and Nepal and Haiti, and the impact they're able to make through their sourcing model is incredible. But really the partnerships they have created with these farmers around the world, over like 95, or I think it might even be 97% of the partnerships, the farmers have decided to exclusively work with doTERRA because of how well doTERRA treats them. And doTERRA basically was the first person on the ground that was asking questions about quality over like, how do we decrease the cost of this? And so doTERRA has these exclusive partnerships, which also enables them to be really consistent in the quality of the oils that are coming out from these farms. And they every single time are doing over 11 different third-party tests. That's known as certified pure tested grade, but really that's a made-up term to communicate that doTERRA tests every single batch multiple different times with all different forms of testing to make sure the quality is there. They also have research partnerships that have been able to come from that place because the quality of the oil is so high. They've been able to partner with all sorts of medical research places and university around the world. So you can check out more information about that on source2u.com. But the second arm of this is that doTERRA has an awesome thing called the Healing Hands Foundation. And this is a nonprofit that is set up to go into the developing countries that they source oils from, and they will build schools and hospitals and dig wells and all sorts of incredible things for the community. So they're literally like changing little microeconomies around the world because of the way that they source their oils.
It really is amazing. And sometimes me and the boys will just like go on to that website, source2u.com, and we'll research the oils and we'll hear stories, sourcing stories, and you can watch videos of how doTERRA, their sourcing model has impacted communities and provided stability and economic stability when it wasn't there before. And this is just one example from the Healing Hands Foundation. The Sanag Specialty Hospital is in Somaliland, in an area where doTERRA sources frankincense and myrrh, or is it just frankincense? Frankincense for sure. But they identified this need as they were working with this community to source frankincense oil in Somaliland. And they realized that the biggest need that this population had was there was over 600,000 people that didn't have primary care, like a primary health care facility within a day of travel. So like 13 hours to get to any kind of hospital. And so over the course of several years, doTERRA worked to establish this hospital. And this is actually a promotion that doTERRA did this last Christmas, where for every 200 PV order in the month of December, the owners of doTERRA donated $5 toward the hospital had already been completed, but they donated toward the ongoing maintenance and funding to run the hospital, which is a big deal. In the first few months, I believe, they saw over 4,500 patients and already had done 11,000 tests. I think they had a birth, like a high risk birth within one of the first few days of the hospital opening. So really amazing stuff that doTERRA is doing.
So from a customer's perspective, why doTERRA? We wanted to talk about that next, because again, like for me in the beginning, this was the most important thing. I could have never sold something that wasn't changing lives and helping people. So what I love about doTERRA is they're taking the world of essential oils, which is predominantly run by like, just stories and testimonies, which are so powerful, but they're getting the science to back it up because of their quality and because of the research partnerships that have opened up because of the quality of the oils. They therefore have so much science to back up all of the powerful uses of the oils. So ultimately, essential oils and doTERRA's products are safer, cheaper, and oftentimes more effective than other options that people have available. And so we are just in a position where I as a wellness advocate, teach people about all of the many, many, many ways you can use essential oils for your family, for your kids, for your pets, literally for everybody in your family. So doTERRA also has a really awesome rewards program set up for customers. And this ultimately just helps reward our most loyal customers by giving them a lot for free, and our customers love it. It is a huge part of why we have such great or high retention, meaning people that order regularly. And lastly, why doTERRA from a customer's perspective? Customers love to spend their money on products that make a big impact. And that's one of the things that drew me to doTERRA. When I found out about how they source their oils and the impact that it's making around the globe, I love being a part of that and seeing it, help my boys with things or help us with things. But then also I know on the other side of the world, there's people benefiting as well.
So one of the phrases we use a lot on our team, the Living Drop Collective, is we use this idea of making ripples, because most of us, if not all of us, almost all of us that are on our team, and even the greater doTERRA family leaders that aren't on our team, most of us got started because we just wanted the product and used the product and loved the product so much that we started sharing it before we even knew there was a business opportunity, let alone before we wanted to build a residual income business. And we refer to that idea of healing and then sharing that healing as creating ripples. And you kind of heard that in Kristen's story at the beginning of how she just wanted the product to create an environment in our home, but without hormone disruptors and all the different things that come with synthetic fragrances. So we're going to share the next few slides, just like a small snippet of the testimonies that have come from sharing the healing that we've found with others. And we could have done this part for like hours, and maybe sometime we will, but we'll just give you guys a little snapshot of some of these.
So a lot of people, to be honest, are just shocked when doTERRA's like natural hygiene products or their cleaning products like actually work. And there's like a ton of testimonies about that. People sharing about freedom they have from over-the-counter medications. Freedom, this girl, through the use of Breathe, got rid of an inhaler and steroids from literally using Breathe for her first time. It like has changed her entire life. This girl shares about natural PMS relief, On Guard Concentrate working for blowouts. And just again, like this like theme of like empowerment. And this mom shares about her daughter's horrible allergies and anxiety from a test for a 7th grader, an ER nurse getting off of 8+ medications. And she shares about how much money she's saved because of doTERRA. Antibodies normalizing, Crohn's disease, like no polyps. Like you can see, I can't even go through all of them. This is one of my closest friends, Melissa Christopher, and she was one of the first people I ever shared doTERRA with. She was the first. It was very accidental. I didn't even have kids yet, and she was sharing about her daughter, Callie. She was a baby at the time, and she was coughing throughout the night, and her baby used a passy at night, and so the whole house was not sleeping because the passy would come out, and then Callie would cry until they went and put the passy back in. And this had gone on for a month, and I kept hearing about it at work because Melissa wasn't getting any sleep. And I was like, well, I think you could use essential oils. Anyways, they use Breathe, and it helped her to sleep through the night. And again, like changed the next day, she's like, how do I get these? Michelle shares about ylang ylang for blood pressure. Like it's just on and on.
Like every day we're hearing stuff like this. It's the best.
It's the best. So my friend Kyla summarizes it really well here. She's a customer with doTERRA and probably will be for the rest of her life. She says, I no longer fear illness because I am confident in natural remedies and the resources of having powerful, pure oils at hand. We are able to support our bodies to work the way God made them to. And ultimately, for me as a wellness advocate, this is my goal. Like, my goal is to help empower people that they get to this place that they can speak from a place of confidence around how they can care for their family because of doTERRA's products. And then this is Melissa Christopher, who was the first person I shared with and is now a diamond leader on our team. And she summarizes the gift that we get in return so well. She says, a successful doTERRA business for my family means purpose, freedom, financial stability, and a platform that is opening up dreams we didn't know we could dream.
So good. We love this work, and we love who we get to do it with. So that's honestly a huge benefit, is just having just like hearing those testimonies of people seeing wins in their health. But specifically, this is a business overview, right? So we're going to talk about business benefits. We already talked about when you're considering a business, you want the product to be amazing and you want it to be consumable, something that people will use and they get value from using it, and then they will repurchase it month after month, which doTERRA does really well. We'll talk a little bit more about the compensation plan, but Kristen mentioned the retention rate for doTERRA. On average, it's 65 to 70%, but the industry average in this space is closer to 13%. And so when you're talking about building a residual income business, the retention rate is a big determining factor of the stability of income that you will be creating. Does that make sense? And then obviously doTERRA is propelled by science, health and wellness, very low startup costs. The only required investment in doTERRA is that you purchase the product every month that you want them to pay you commission. You purchase the product every month you want them to pay you commission. That's the only required investment to get started. This business is scalable beyond trading time for dollars. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You get to choose your environment, your hours, your work schedule, all those things. There's tax advantages. And then another one of the best parts is you get community in this work. doTERRA structured the compensation plan. They structured the culture of the company to be one of collaboration and one of team unity. So we are not competing with our team. And in a lot of ways, we're not even competing with people not on our team, because we all have a big purpose, a big mission, and we're incentivized to work together. This is just a quick reminder. So it doesn't take a lot of money to start a doTERRA business. It does take time. So time is going to be the biggest investment to get started in this business and to grow this business. But in the long run, the time you save and the time that is created through building this type of business is going to far outshadow the work that you put in at the front end, especially when we are communicating and empowering customers like Kristen mentioned. And we have a product that people will continue to purchase month after month. So try not to get overwhelmed by this. You can take a screenshot if you want to. I'm sorry, it's a little bit blurry. I tried to clear it up, but it still looks blurry. But what this is doTERRA's compensation plan in one screenshot. So you can take a screenshot if you want, or you can Google this. You can Google doTERRA Build Guide, doTERRA Build Guide US for the United States version, and you'll get a PDF, and this is like page 2 or 3 of that PDF. But what this is kind of our career path for doTERRA. And the good news is you can go as far as you want. There's no limitations, and there's also no requirements. If you're like us, we got to the rank of Premier and we're like, oh, silver looks attainable. Let's do that. Oh, gold looks great. Let's do that. Oh, diamond looks great. We almost skipped platinum, not quite, but so it can kind of change and evolve as you go. But our goal as wellness advocates and as leaders is to hear what you are wanting, and then to get behind you to help you create a plan and a a path that's right for you,
Mhm.
and then to help you be successful in that plan. But just to explain the screen a little bit more. So doTERRA pays us in 4 ways. You can see those color coded over here, and they're all cumulative. So you don't like pick and choose, but you can see as you grow in your business, some of them remain flat the whole time. Some of them grow a lot. Some of them grow a little, but it's all cumulative. And I'm just going to quickly mention the 4 different types of compensation. So the Fast Start bonus is really self-explanatory. It's paid weekly, and it is what doTERRA pays us for helping somebody brand new get started with doTERRA. So if we help somebody brand new get a doTERRA account, start with a starter kit, the very next week, doTERRA will pay us 20% of whatever that initial order was for that new person. So 20% the next week. And that's paid 3 levels. So if I enroll somebody, I will get 20% of that first order. And then if that person enrolls somebody, they will get 20% and I will get 10%. And if that second person enrolls somebody, so there's 3 levels, the person that enrolled them will get 20%, the person I enrolled will get 10%, and I will get 5%. And that's paid out weekly. And so that's a really easy way to get a return on your investment within the first month of starting your doTERRA business, because you have to pay for your order, right? If you just enroll 2 or 3 people in that month, you will already be making a profit. So that's the Fast Start bonus. The other 3 are paid monthly. Fast Start is the only one paid weekly. The Power of 3 team bonus is to incentivize us structuring our team properly. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. I'm not going to deep dive into that, but it is a great way to sustainably and monthly pay for our product, because you can be getting a $250 Power of 3 bonus every single month just by helping 9 to 10 people, at least 9 or 10 people on your team ordering the product on a regular basis, and you can get a $250 bonus. If that's something you're interested in, we can talk more about that. And then the unilevel bonus is the primary bonus in doTERRA's compensation plan. It starts off very small, but it grows to be the biggest portion of our monthly check. And this is the true residual income piece, because all it is small percentages of every single order that everyone on your team places every single month forever, as long as they have their account and as long as they are purchasing the product. And then the leadership bonuses, they start at the rank of Premier. And really what this is, they're global revenue share pools, global revenue share pools. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that we don't feel in competition with our friends in doTERRA that are on other teams. Because when doTERRA is successful, these are global revenue pools, revenue sharing pools. So when doTERRA is doing great in Europe, we're cheering them on. When other teams in the US are doing great, we're cheering them on, and they're cheering us on, because those pools are split between all of us, depending on how doTERRA is doing. So you can see here, these are average incomes by rank per month. I think the next screen is going to show this a little bit more clearly. But the last thing I want to say about this is we don't become successful in doTERRA without helping other people become successful. And that's one of the things that I love the most about this business is you can see these ranks: Premier, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Blue Diamond, Presidential Diamond. But then you see these little letters under each of those ranks. So for example, Gold, and there's these 3 Ps. All that means is to hit the rank of Gold, you have to help 3 people hit the rank of Premier. And so that's one of the ways where doTERRA designed the compensation plan for us to work collaboratively as a team. and it's genius, and I love it. If you want to talk more about this, we can do that later, but Kristen's given me the let's go. You thought she just had her arm around my back. No, she did. I just knew, I could feel it. She's like, all right, let's go. This is just a little bit more clearly the average monthly income by rank. And when I want to just specify average, like when you hit silver for the very first time, and it's like bare minimum silver, it's not going to equal 2,350, for example. There are silvers that are making 1,500 brand new silvers. And then there are also silvers that are making 4,000 or 5,000. So everywhere in between, these are averages. These are real numbers, but we just want to use them as a way of seeing like what's possible, what can be expected generally. So I love this chart because sometimes I wonder, I'm like, what is our business worth? And I haven't just wondered that now. I wondered that when we were at the rank of silver. I've wondered it throughout because I think in terms of balance sheet, right? And account balances and things like that. And so one way that you could figure out the value of a residual income business. Does everyone know what I mean by when I say residual income?
You should just explain it.
Yes, no, I will.
I wouldn't have understood it if you were teaching this.
So there's lots of different definitions. What I think of as residual income is you do the work up front, whatever the work is, you do work up front. And instead of just trading time for money or a product for money or a project for money, you do work and then you receive money from that work many, 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 many times. Like a pipeline, like you build a pipeline and yes, you have to maintain it, but it's built, right? And oil or whatever, water can flow through it and it will produce revenue for as long as it's operating, right? So that's a good picture of residual income. But the value of residual income, one of the ways that you can value a residual income business is look at the monthly cash flow and then divide it by 5% and take it times 12. So all that means is how much would I have to have in a bank account earning 5% interest to produce this monthly cash flow? So for example, if you are just getting your $50 Power of 3 bonus, which dozens and dozens of people on our team are getting that, I don't know, maybe 100 or more people are getting that $50 bonus every single month to help pay for their order. That's as if you had $12,000 sitting in an account, a bank account or a retirement account, producing a 5% return and putting $50 in your pocket every month. If you're getting $250 a month from doTERRA or from some other residual income source, that's as if you had $60,000 in an investment or a bank account producing 5%. And you can see on this next screen with the average incomes from doTERRA, what the value of those businesses are using this kind of methodology and this kind of thought process. You can, so like for Diamond, for example, no, that's not a good one because it's in between 10 and 20,000. So it's about 17,000 for the rank of Diamond on average. That would be as if you had $3 to $4 million in an account producing a 5% return and putting that 17,000 into your bank account, which I think is amazing. It's really cool. When I was first exposed to this, I was working as an accountant for a family-owned business, and I was in charge of the owner distributions. And I was like, wow, that is residual income. This is amazing. But they worked for all decades to build that business to the point where it was at. And I just think that this doTERRA model, especially, I know there's other residual income models, but doTERRA, especially for the low financial investment that's required, it does take time. And you do have to follow a system and be consistent and all those things that we can help you with. But it can really produce a valuable asset. And that it is an asset. We, in our will, our kids get our doTERRA business, and our account will then go to them, and it will continue producing income for them when we're gone. The first question that I asked when I saw all those average incomes, and perhaps the first question you are asking is, okay, average incomes on our brochure are cool, that's great, but is it real? It's the first question I asked Callie, the girl who introduced us to doTERRA. I said, is it real? And she was like, oh, let me show you. And she pulled out her spreadsheet, and she had been tracking for months and years her doTERRA income. And she just showed it to us. And I was like, okay, sign us up, let's go. So I just share this for two reasons. One, it is real. This is our family's annual. I used to show this monthly, but it got too long. Our annual income from doTERRA since we started, and it was nothing. 2022 is estimated, obviously, but it's been amazing. The second reason I show you this is because, or at least what I really like about it, is I know that this is great, but when I think about our team, and I tried to get doTERRA to show me a report. I was like, what does doTERRA pay our whole team? Because I want to measure that number, and I want that number to grow. And they wouldn't show that to me, or they didn't have the capability or whatever. But I know that adding up our team's commission from doTERRA every year and every month far outpaces this number, like what we are just getting paid. And by the way, it's not just about more money. So I tried to think of a creative way or a visual way to show this. So hopefully this is helpful, but I'm like, really, it's about freedom, or at least for us, that's what it was for us, was we wanted more time. We had decent jobs that paid well. We just didn't have any time. And so I tried to visually just graph the growth of our family freedom over time as our doTERRA business grew. And this jump in 2016 is when Kristen quit her job. It's when we moved to Waco. And we did have a lot more time freedom at that point, but we still had my job, which limited us quite a bit. But in 2017, at the end of 2017, that was the last time I took a paycheck from my job. And from then we get to, like, we still work. We still teach people about essential oils. We still teach people about health and natural wellness. We teach business training and overviews like this, but it is really based on our schedule, on our time, and we get to prioritize the things that are most valuable to us.
And we can do it from anywhere.
And we can do it from anywhere. Like
this spring,
literally
for example,
anywhere.
We have been on so many trips that we're like, kind of like, oh, it's nice to have like a chill month with no trips, which it's funny because looking back where we used to be,
we wanted
to travel. And we really do love travel. It's really fun to be able to take our kids with us and like, honestly, not have to stress about vacation time. We can still do work when we're there. Yeah. It's really flexible and we love it.
So I would love to geek out about all this kind of stuff, but it's already been 45 minutes. So we're going to try to go fast. But what we typically hear from financial advisors, from Dave Ramsey, from just our parents or grandparents or whoever, the typical advice we get is go to school, then work 40 plus hours for 40 plus years, saving a portion of your check into the stock market or into something, and then plan to retire at age 65 or 70, right? That's the advice we hear. That actually works for less than 10% of people when you think about it.
And by works, you mean
like this plan actually works. Like they actually, over those 40 years, they get to $3 or $4 million to produce an income for them to retire comfortably on. Less than 10% of people are actually able to do that. It actually works for them. And that's a lot of time. And that's a lot of delayed gratification for that to not work out. Compared to the doTERRA plan, we didn't really talk a lot about like the averages per rank in terms of time and commitment. There is a wide range because it depends a lot on on what you're able to put into it in terms of time. But there, you can determine your own schedule as you go. There's minimal financial investment we already talked about. You can earn while you build. You don't have to just put money away that you will never see for 40 years. You can earn money as you are building your pipeline. You can build to the level you desire. And instead of 40 years, you're looking more at like 1 to 3 to 5 to 7 years, depending on those few different variables. So it's really a compelling business model. These are just some stats about the current state of the industry, but suffice to say, it is a really great time to get started in doTERRA. 70% of the general adult population have never heard of doTERRA. This is in the United States. 70% of the adult population have never heard of doTERRA. And most states, doTERRA just showed us this most states have 1% or less of household penetration, meaning 1% of the households in the state or less have doTERRA. Texas, we're sitting in Texas, less than 1% of the households in Texas have doTERRA. So there's an amazing market opportunity for doTERRA to continue growing based on the trends and what they've already seen. Now, to bring it home a little bit, we are currently sitting in a season of inflation that is higher than it's been in the last 40 years. Maybe longer, I don't know. I know the last one was like 8.7% or something like that. And over 2 million women left the workforce because of the pandemic. I know a lot of men left it as well. A lot of people had to cut back on their jobs or do a career shift. Diversifying income is always a good idea, and this is a great model and a great way to do that. But if we are entering a recession, I'm being generous with the if we are entering a recession, an added income stream is a great idea.
And it's also interesting to note that doTERRA was actually, like, they started
in 2008, the last really bad recession. And then this quote has always stuck with me: dig the well before you get thirsty. So futuristic is one of my top strengths in Strength Finders. And I remember thinking when we were debating about doTERRA and we were trying to figure out, like, do we go all in with this? Do we want to put in a lot of time into this? Because we were not hurting financially. And we had one son on the way. We didn't have kids. We were debt free. We didn't have time. I already mentioned that. That was our pain point. But I could see, I was like, we don't want to be doing these jobs for 30, 40 years. And when we do have kids, we want to be able to spend a lot of time with them. And even though we did work a lot when Elliot was young, we worked a lot when Elliot was young, like 1, 2 years old. But I knew that I would trade that for having time freedom and being able to be in his day-to-day life when he's 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 14, 18. So it's a trade-off. And my encouragement is to dig the well before you get thirsty.
So this is a question we always get asked, of course: what does the work actually look like? And the short answer is it looks different for everybody because it depends on the strengths that you bring, and it depends on, like, what things you're passionate about. But it always comes down to adding value to people. So we always start with things like sharing samples with people so they can actually see the difference the products bring to their life. We do lots of different types of education classes, things online. Like, we did a vendor event last year where we went and taught people at a vendor event. There's so many creative ways you can do it, but ultimately it comes down to adding value to people and solving their problems. So on our team in particular, we use a lot of different systems, and I'll touch on that in a second. And we're always looking for openness. Like, is somebody open to learn? Are they open to learn about natural things? Are they open to learn about earning income through doTERRA? And ultimately, we're looking to educate and equip people, again, serving them according to whatever their problems are, helping them solve those problems. So with doTERRA, I will just say before he goes into this, there are many different paths. And you don't have to do doTERRA to the extent that we have done it. But yeah, Tyler will share.
But you should. I'm just kidding. It's great. So it's true. You get to choose your goals, your path, and we will come alongside you in whatever capacity that looks like and help you see that. Maybe not us personally, but our team will come alongside you and help you achieve those goals. But in addition to doTERRA's regular compensation plan, those 4 types that I mentioned, right? In addition to those average annual or average monthly incomes by rank, doTERRA is currently running a really incredible and unique opportunity to wellness advocates in the United States. So this is a United States specific opportunity. It's called Founders Club 2.0. And I'll try to give you the speed reader edition, but Founders Club 2.0 insinuates that there was a Founders Club 1.0 or an original Founders Club, which is true. When doTERRA first started, they, to incentivize people to build their doTERRA businesses really quickly, they had a Founders Club. They did it in the United States, and now they do it in every country around the world where they open for the first time. But that incentive is, it was originally open to 25 people in the United States in 2008. And the incentive was the first 25 people to get to the rank of gold and maintain that qualifying rank will receive a 1/25th share of doTERRA's revenue annually, every year based on the prior year's revenue. And so those original 25 people got it really fast. They didn't know what was going to become of doTERRA. But in 2020, doTERRA passed, or 2019, doTERRA passed the $1 billion in revenue mark in the United States. And so those annual checks for those original founders are now really, really, really nice. And because it's $1 billion divided by 25, and that's an annual bonus on top of their regular income. And so when doTERRA passed that $1 billion mark, corporate and the original founders got together and they said, we believe when we are blessed, we believe in not building a bigger fence to keep people out. We believe in building a bigger table to bring more people in. And so those original 25 founders gave up the growth on their share of their founders bonus. And so when they did that, doTERRA created Founders Club 2.0. And what that means is instead of 25 spots, there are now 200 spots for Founders Club 2.0. And those 200 people will share a 2%. Those 200 people will share a 2% pool of doTERRA's revenue above 1 billion up to 2 billion every year. So that equates to up to an $80,000 annual bonus on top of those average monthly incomes. It's a point earning system to get one of those 200 spots, but the way to earn a spot is really just to build your business. You would want to look at between hitting at least gold and probably aiming more so for platinum if you're brand new, and that would get you a Founders Club spot. There are 173 spots remaining. So 27 of them are taken. And before you count yourself out on this opportunity, I just want to encourage you, if you're brand new, there are actually more points available for you to get to earn one of these spots. We were already the rank of diamond when doTERRA announced this. And so we didn't get points for all of that business that we had built to the rank of diamond. We had to build beyond diamond in order to get one of these spots. And we did get one of these spots.
It'll be announced.
Which is exciting. It'll be announced Monday.
Next Monday.
We can't wait. So you can do it.
Yes.
And we would love to show you how.
Yes. So the last thing that I wanted to touch on is that ultimately systems matter. And this is one of the things that we've worked really hard to try to work these into our business for our team as much as possible. And what I mean by systems is We have things that are kind of plug and play for you to be able to utilize as you build your business. Things like regular continuing education that we collaborate with the entire of our team to be able to offer. We do something called Oil Camp for brand new customers to learn about the oils that they got in their starter kits. And we do regular team trainings, all sorts of things like that. And that's how our team has been able to take so many different people from so many different avenues of life that likely most of them have never done network marketing before, and they have been able to see a lot of success on our team and with doTERRA. And so ultimately, we want you to end this call by just really thinking through what kind of doTERRA business you want to create. Like we mentioned already, there's multiple different paths, and obviously we shared heavily about our own personal experience, but we have people on our team, many people that have just simply followed this number one path of creating free healthcare for their family. They consistently every single month pay for the products that they get from doTERRA. And typically for this type of level of engagement, you're going to need to spend 3 to 10 hours per week. Over the course of 1 to 3 months, you can get to that place. And like I said, we have likely hundreds, if not more, of people doing that on our team. Then the second pathway would be if you're looking to create a part-time business where you want to supplement your income, you're looking at 10 to 30 hours of time per week. And then you can get to that place within 1 to 2 years. Of course, these are averages. Some people do it faster. Some people it takes a little bit longer. And then for people that are wanting to completely replace or multiply your income, you can do that through getting to the rank of platinum or above. And typically for that, it's going to take 15 to 40 hours per week. And in the time frame of 1 year to 3 years, you should be able to create that for your family. And I will just also add that there are many people in doTERRA that build all the way to the rank of diamond and above that still have a different job. So our family, we chose to not do that, but for some people, that's the way they want it to look. And so really it comes down to what kind of doTERRA business do you want to create?
Yeah.
So after tonight, we wanted to give you a few steps to take after this. We're going to have some Q&A time right after this, but number one, whoever invited you here is going to be connecting with you one-on-one, and they're going to want to know what you want to create, and also of course, what questions you have, and you'll be able to process with them more. Two, if you're ready to get started, we want to help you craft a launch process that is specific to you and a unique for you to be able to see success, really incorporating in your strengths and your prior experience to doTERRA. And then three, if you don't have the doTERRA products yet, you definitely have to let the person who invited you know, tell them what your health goals are, and they can give you some recommendations on what are going to be the best ways to start, because your experiences with the products are going to be that extra oomph that you need in your business to really succeed.
Yeah. So now all those questions that you have written down, all of those things you're like, what? That can't be real. Or what did he mean by that? What did she mean by that? This is where we get to ask the questions. Yeah. Kristen's going to stop the recording, and we are